The NBA betting scandal ended in 2007. Gaming the Game was published in 2011. It's August 2022. Why do you keep talking so much about this story?
Years ago, during a media appearance, I was asked if I, quote unquote, hated former referee Tim Donaghy. And I cracked up because that had never occurred to me. And of course, I don't hate Tim Donaghy. What does he have to do with any of this? And people say, but my gosh, you seem so agitated about this. And I am, but not because a convicted felon is telling tales. That's sort of standard fare in my line of work. I'm a criminologist, for goodness sake, with a law enforcement background. I'm perfectly used to people hustling. I've been frustrated with people in academia and in the media who haven't been doing their homework and fact-checking. That's it. My focus is on all the people giving platforms for disinformation who should know better. That's the only reason that I spend so much time on this.
Do you have an opinion on why, according to you, so many in the media continue getting the 2003 to 2007 NBA betting scandal story wrong?
It's often been said that I'm passionate about my research, and that's true. Whether it's about my organized crime work or work on white-collar crime, some of my work on policing, although that's not nearly as sensational as the other stuff. Yeah, I love what I do. I'm lucky. But when they say it about my work on the NBA betting scandal and when I'm talking about my book, Gaming the Game, people say, but you really seem agitated. It's not about the research project. That was just interesting and a lot of fun to do. But I get animated, as they say, because of the media. I just can't get over how ignorant, lazy, and incompetent almost all of the media has been with this. The other thing is, obviously, this was a sports story, so it's mostly sports media with whom I've been dealing over the last decade. And I don't know if they're worse than mainstream media with regard to people I deal with normally. With organized crime stuff, I'm usually dealing with beat reporters, city hall reporters, so to speak, people who cover politics and current events. In this situation, I've been dealing with sports people, and my goodness, they are not only not aware of the criminal justice system, when you present them with the actual evidence, in particular of this case, they don't want to hear it. They have an idea of what this case was, and that's the end of it. And you will not divorce them from their version of reality. And that's a shame. It's bad enough that they do that, by the way. I don't think their audiences, whether it's print, TV, or radio, or now podcasts, I don't think any of the audiences are aware how uninformed the people who are providing them this information are. I think people in the public generally would be surprised if they heard the backdoor conversations I've had with people in the media. And by media, I'm talking about print, TV, radio, podcasters, Hollywood, how little they care about the truth. Some of them are very open about this. They'll tell you about their deadlines. They'll tell you about their goals, whether it's clicks, views, ratings, whatever. And so when you present them with evidence or with a story that's nuanced and complicated, they don't have time for that. They have other agendas, other goals to meet. And some of them, unfortunately, I shouldn't even say some, I would actually say many, in my experience, come into these projects with predetermined narratives. And it doesn't matter what you do or say, that's what you're getting as a viewer. It's bad enough, but I wish they would at least tell people that. If we all knew it was just entertainment for the sake of clicks, views, and ratings, we could have a more honest conversation. And then people who are trying to write history 5 years, 10 years, 50 years from now, then we would at least know what we're getting into. As it is now, somebody in 2022 trying to write a story about something that happened 5 years, 10 years ago, you're relying on things that were written as news or presented as documentaries. And so much of that is lacking, to say the least. That's partly why I get so animated, as my students like to say.
You and others have debunked many key Donaghy claims using evidence. Why then do you think some people continue to cite or rely upon Donaghy for their opinions and arguments?
For those who don't know, I research organized crime for a living. That's my primary research area. So the idea that people hustle and con and grift is not noteworthy to me. When news reporters or radio or TV hosts ask me a question and they apparently are serious and say, "Are you telling me Tim Donaghy lied to me and to my audience?" I don't know how to react to that. It's such an absurd question. Yes, of course. Why wouldn't that happen? Yeah, you might not assume that every guest you have is lying to you. That's not an easy way to go about life. But you're not interviewing someone you have a background with or whose validity has already been unquestioned. You're literally talking to someone who was convicted of a felony, and the felony was fraud. Never mind all of his other problematic, shall we say, off-the-court actions and behaviors. So yes, you should be considering that from the jump. I've always gotten a kick out of, and I posted this on my website, plenty of interviewers have actually said to him at the end of the interview that they thanked him for his honesty and his candor right after he got done lying to them for half of an hour or however long it was. Why would you thank him for his honesty? Why would you thank me for my honesty? How would you know? It's an absurd thing for somebody who's theoretically in the media to say to an interview subject. I'll never understand that. Anyone who's ever read my website, where everything is sourced the same exact way as my academic articles, my books, everything I write is sourced. Well, anyone who's been to my website realizes, oh my goodness, if you read Tim Donaghy's book, you would have known, having no access to anything of note, meaning confidential law enforcement files, access to interview subjects like pro gamblers, sportsbook managers, all the thing at law enforcement agents that I did when I wrote Game in the Game. You would know, though, Tim Donaghy could not know a blizzard of important things. How much money was being wagered, where it was being wagered. He writes about these things, but how would he know? He talks about the law enforcement investigation. How would he know? Talks about what the U.S. Attorney's Office was doing and why. How would he know that? People are so desirous to believe in some other things he writes because they have preconceived ideas about what should be said about the NBA and conspiracies that they ignore the factual, demonstrable falsehoods and go, okay, fine, the first 100 things, absolutely BS. But number 101, I'm all for it, baby.
If so many in the media keep doing such a poor job, according to you, why do you keep accepting requests for assistance and for interviews?
I've said many times, I don't turn down media interviews because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I can't, on the one hand, complain about the media being lazy and incompetent and getting things wrong all the time if they're gracious enough or smart enough to contact the people who have access to the data, to the sources, and provide them with that information, whether it's about the NBA betting scandal or any topic. You would hope that that's what reporters are doing all the time. So obviously, I lend my time and my resources as best I can to people hoping they get the story right. That's partly why I get so frustrated, because in some cases, the people who are reporting know what they're reporting isn't true. Some of them know what they're reporting can't be true, but they're so desirous of conspiracy theories or clicks or views or ratings or who knows what else. I simply know it's not about truth and history.